Hey, welcome to the next channel. So when you install FreeNAS, you will have an option to add an additional mirror drive to the boot pool or the boot disk wherever you install the FreeNAS. So sometimes it may be a situation that we may install in just one USB drive. So similarly, even I have done the same. I have installed in a Kingston 16 GB USB 3 drive, and often I see there are some discussion threads in which people who discuss about their USB drive getting corrupted and stuff. In fact, I shot a video episode and I have even discussed few precautions in terms of how you can choose a boot drive. Especially you can put something in an aluminum case, something like that. Okay, you can buy a boot drive, a USB drive which is put inside any aluminum casing rather than something like a slim version, or else it is put inside some rubberized plastic, or else just a plastic case, because it may get heated up over the course of time, and it may reduce the life of your boot drive, and it may add any sort of corruption and stuff. And moreover, we should understand these USB drives are the most cheapest forms of flash memory when you compare to a full-fledged SSD hard drives, because you will have more redundancy and you will have more checksums and stuff like that when you compare with something like cheap USB drive. So I have discussed the same where there is a video about teaching FreeNAS, and I just gave some tips so that you don't need to take any drastic steps. If your install is quite rock solid, the only concerning factor is installing in a USB drive, so you can do something about it. Okay, so I just ordered in Amazon an identical 16 GB drive. I could have ordered even 32 GB boot drive. Apart from that, I have just ordered some couple of things. So one among them is this boot drive. So the idea is we can actually do a mirror boot drive, or you can add a drive to its boot pool. Okay, so it's quite tricky. So what I thought is, which is why I thought this video might help you in case you have a existing FreeNAS setup, but you have not done mirroring of your boot drive. Okay, so it is not a big issue, because anyway you can take a config file backup and then you can restore it back, so it is still not an issue. So yep, so I got few stuff here. So this is my Kingston 16 GB USB 3 drive. So apart from that, I got few LED lamps and few stuff, some miscellaneous stuff. So I got also an interesting stuff with this. I just ordered some kind of module. Yep, this is a USB power meter. Yeah, this is quite useful for any projects. So before I dive into the same, I thought let me just have a look. Yeah, this is a small USB power meter. So apart from that, I ordered some few miscellaneous groceries. So it came in this box. So the main highlight is this regular Kingston 16 GB drive. So I got this because this is a USB 3 standard. They mentioned as USB 3.1, 3.0 and 2.0. Okay, it is backward compatible. So let's just pop it open quickly. So as I said, you don't have to much worry about, even if the boot drive gets corrupted, you can take obviously periodic backups of your FreeNAS config, and from there you can anyway restore it. And moreover, it doesn't matter, FreeNAS just sees your drives, and then if there are all the drives available of that pool, it is just going to load as it is. Once it reads the config file, it searches the availability of the drives and it auto mounts and loads. Okay, so that's what. So this is the one. So this is quite identical. What I do is before firing up my NAS, I'll install the same. So I have done inside the NAS, not anything poking outside the motherboard. So let me just take this camera and show you where I can install the same inside the NAS server. Yep, as you can see here, I have got this extension or this adapter. So this connects to this motherboard directly. So from there you can see the other one has this Kingston USB drive. So this one is an identical one. I just want to install the same. So what I did is, to prevent any dust or anything to enter inside this USB port, I covered with this medical grade micropore tape. We can just insert this. Let me try with one hand. So since it is USB 3, it is going to have a lot more pins, so it is better to avoid any dust entering into the same. So you can see here, I can able to insert the same. So now it has two drives. This one has FreeNAS installed versus this one is the brand new one. So we can just fire this server. Yep, let me turn on this UPS. And we can just fire this server. Yep, you can see it started. As I mentioned, even the back side I just covered with this micropore tape to avoid any dust entering into this pins. Okay, so that's what, except I just exposed this network adapter Ethernet port alone. The rest I just covered with the tape. So we wait till FreeNAS boots this OS, and then we can get back and then we can start adding this into our boot pool. Okay, so I believe the FreeNAS must have been booted. So we go to its UI. It will take some time. The reason is it will ask the boot confirmation and stuff like that, and as well this server doesn't have any VGA port. It doesn't have any VGA. So in fact, if I need any VGA out, I need to insert a GPU explicitly. It doesn't have inbuilt VGA in the motherboard or else in the processor, because this is an AMD processor. AMD have some Ryzen processors have this provision which will have inside VGA. Okay, so it will have inside a graphics inbuilt graphics card. So that's what. So let's just refresh and wait. So the main idea behind this adding an additional drive is it will work seamless. I don't want to restore anything from backup just in case if some corruption happens in the boot drive. At the same time, this is a bit tricky because the boot pools are not exposed with your existing data pools inside the same FreeNAS UI. So maybe it may take another minute or so to come up. We just see. So I can do is I can ping the server, ping 192.168.0.98. So sometime in future we can also do one thing. See, it has an M.2 port in the motherboard. We can also replace one of this USB with M.2, and we can even keep a mirrored boot pool with one M.2 and the other one as USB in any combination. Okay, so after some time we can even replace that with a standard SSD or something. So any combination we can keep. If you have dual M.2 slots, so we can even do mirrored boot pool with both M.2 SSDs. Okay, so it is possible. So it is still taking some time. I thought it must have booted, so which is when I started doing this record. It is quite taking a long time. I have waited, considerable amount of time. Looks like it is trying to boot from that new drive and some sort of issue or something like that. Since there is no monitor directly attached to the system, I am not sure what is going inside. So what I can do is I can unplug. Anyway, USB is hot plug, so we can unplug and reboot the system, and we see once FreeNAS is booted, I can just plug that, and then we can start our mirroring stuff. Okay, so I better do that because I waited around a couple of more minutes offline, and looks like it is not up yet. Okay, so let me just do something and let's see. I checked the network port and other stuff. I still believe that there is an issue in booting up FreeNAS itself. So what I do is I unplug, and we can do one thing is we can restart the machine, and yes, so I have switched off and then switched it on again, and during that process I unplugged the same. So let it boot FreeNAS. After that we can anyway insert, and if it shows up in the disks in the UI, then we are good to go. We can start adding it as a part of its boot pool. So you should understand FreeNAS boot pool is also a ZFS file system, so it should accommodate any such changes. So let's wait and see we can able to add this or not. Okay, so it is finally up. You can see I can able to ping the same. What we do is we go to the UI, we log into the FreeNAS UI. This will take some time because it has to initialize this UI stuff. So I'm able to ping the server, but to get to the UI I have to wait couple of more minutes. Yep, yes, you can see here we are able to go inside the UI. We can see here storage pools. It shows only our data pools. It is not going to show the boot pool. So this is where it gets tricky, how we can add additional drives to that boot pool. So let me just plug this quickly, and then we can go inside. Yep, so we can go to the disks and see that new one shows up. So you can see here the new one is here, which is showing as DA1. The other one is DA0. I configured its description as a USB boot drive and stuff like that, and hard disk standby and all other settings. I have just done that. So I may do sometime same thing with this newly added drive as well. So the main thing is we can not do anything over here inside this pools. So all we need to do is in system we have this option as boot environments, and here somewhere you can go to this boot pool status, and you can have some option to add an additional drive. You can see here it shows the option as attach. If you click this three dots, this is the FreeNAS boot. This is the FreeNAS boot pool. So you can do that. So you can also observe that it shows that device DA0. So you must have seen that DA0 is the old USB drive, and the other one is DA1. So we try doing this attach, and then you can see here it shows this member disk, and it shows the option as DA1. So that's it. We can choose this, and we can mention as use all disk space and save, and let's see it attaches. So it is quite unique. This is not a process many try to do that. So you should understand it's just not combining USB to USB. If you have this USB installed FreeNAS, and if you want to have a mirrored drive as a standard SATA, you can also do that. If you have SATA SSD, you can also pair it up with USB and SATA, so you can do any combination. It's just matter of adding a drive to that existing boot pool. So that's all. Okay. One thing is, since it's a critical setting, they are not exposing it into that storage ZFS pools, so which is why we can't see this option over there as well. If you see the first page of that GUI, the home page of that UI, even there it is not going to show any boot pools. It is going to show all your data volumes except the boot pool. But if you type or access the command line, then you can see all the options. So what we can do is, while it is doing the same, we can go inside the FreeNAS server and we can check the command line options, what is happening within the same. Okay, so we do quickly SSH net 192.168.0.98. Yep, so we go inside. I have some few utilities also installed there, so Titan big pool utilities, and you can check with the zpool status, and if it has to be run as a sudo, I can cancel the same. Yes, so cat zpool status. So what we are interested is this FreeNAS boot. Rest it is fine, it is going to show the regular stuff. So you can see it is on par with any other zpool, any other ZFS pools. Okay, so we type the same. Since it is doing some operation now in terms of attaching the drive, it is taking some time because it has to do that resilvering and other stuff. Okay, so it has to do that. I feel it is holding that, and since a USB drive is not as fast as typical hard drives or anything, maybe it is taking some time till it finishes the same. So I can cancel this and come out. You can see here it is just holding that command. By now it should display something and it should come out, but instead it is just holding. So something is happening. Let's see. If this is over, then we can try the same. Since it is around 16 GB, I'm not sure what extent it is using, and moreover, out of 16 GB, you can see there it is using around 14.44 GB. Okay, so this is what. So somewhere maybe it is using the rest of the space as swap memory or swap partition, or it is it's just ignoring that rest of that free space. I'm really not sure what is that partitioning it has done inside those USB drives. Okay, so let's wait and see. I can stop this camera capture and come back once it has completed this process. Okay. One more thing, while it is doing the same, you can see here still it is not completed. What I can do is I can just do one more terminal and I can do SSH in another terminal, and we can see it's a memory usage. So that can give us some clue, because in UI I don't want to skip that page wherever we are currently over here. I don't want to skip this page. Let us see that how it happens, and I just want to see what it does. Okay. So while it is doing the same, here I can give free -h. Okay, free command is not there in ZFS. Du df -h, and we can get some clue about it. So these are regular ZFS pools, and yeah, FreeNAS boot is over here. It has total used space of around 756 MB, that's all, and still we have a lot of free space. But when it attaches, I believe it may do entire mirroring of that, resilvering of that space of that partition. So maybe that is taking quite an amount of time. So let's see. Top. I'm not sure what is the load on CPU and what is happening. Okay. Yep, you can see here it is using some yeah, it is not using any swap space. It is 10G total versus 10G free, so it is not using swap space. And other than that, not much is happening around. Okay, so I'm really not sure when it is going to end. Okay, so it's just a question of 16 GB, why it is taking a lot of time. Okay, anyway, I wait and get back once it is completed. Okay, so let me just turn off this video feed. Well, what happened is it showed token expired, and it mentioned me to relog in. So you can see it has prompted the same, and it came to this window. So let's go back and see that if anything it has done with respect to the same. So we can also go here disks and see that its status. Yep, you can see the disk size is updated. I believe it has partitioned and done something. So we can go here and go to boot environments, and we can go to boot pool status. Yep, you can see here it has added this secondary drive. It's successfully added. I'm not sure why it took so and so time. In case if you have done this on any USB 2 compatible drives, USB drives, I believe it may take some more time. I'm not sure. Or if you do this with regular SSDs, maybe it takes less time. Okay, I'm really not sure. Maybe in case you have done this successfully after watching this video, you can share your feedback, so it will be quite useful. So this is the first time I'm doing. I thought let me capture, because this is something I can able to see in official FreeNAS documentation. So I thought let me attempt the same. So let me get away the fear that something I lose end of the day. Okay, so it's fine. You can go inside here, general or somewhere, you can do a save config, and then you can just save this config file. You can see here I maintain some copies of the same of this FreeNAS. I named as Titan NAS, as well as I have some copies of my old Netgear as well. So that's what. So I can do that. But other than that, in case if something happens, it is quite cumbersome. This machine doesn't have any, as I said, it doesn't have any working VGA port. So I need to remove one of the SATA cards and then reinstall a graphics card, and then I need to proceed connecting a monitor and stuff. It is quite cumbersome, and then I need to install FreeNAS if the drive gets corrupted, and then I need to do all over again, and then load the config file and get that NAS up again. So instead of doing all that hassle, we can have a mirror boot pool and it is going to cut short any such occurrence of events. Okay, so if it gets corrupted, all I need to do is I need to replace that faulty one with a working one. And in case if I don't want to use any more USB drives as boot drives, I can use M.2 SSD drive. I have still a vacant port. I can install a M.2 SSD drive. I can make that as a boot pool mirror, one among the boot pool mirror drives along with the USB. So things like that. So slowly I can transition. So it gives that opportunity. So having said that, still it is fine to use, but I'm a bit scared about in case what happens in the case of a swap space. So I heard somewhere someone mentioning, I mean to say in the FreeNAS forums, a moderator or someone mentioning that swap memory is not going to be part on your boot drive, which is good. I'm still not sure why it is the case, because in the case of Linux, whenever you use you run out of RAM, and if you use swap memory, it is going to use your hard drive as your RAM. Okay, it's a virtual memory, it is going to use your hard drive as your RAM. But I'm not sure in the case of FreeNAS why he mentioned. So I'm really not sure exactly how that swap memory allocation happens. Is it going to use one among the data drives, ZFS pool in the data drives, or what is that overall scenario? So I need to explore, and in case if I get any clues, I may do some video in the future. Okay, so that's what. So it is successful. All I need to do is I need to go inside the disks, and I can just change some settings. Okay, I can change its setting, hard disk standby and advanced power management, something similar to that. I don't want to have anything aggressive. So USB boot drive 2 something, and the hard disk standby I can mention as level 5 or whatever. Acoustic power management I can mention intermediate or something. I'm not sure about this, so let me just skip at this point. Acoustic level medium, save, and we can compare those settings with this setting. So I generally do these settings for all the drives, let it be data drives or else this boot pool. Yep, you can see it shows as boot drive 2, and here advanced power management I need to set as 1, and here it is set as minimum. So maybe I can change it to minimum as well. So since it's just a boot drive, okay, so boot drive, let me keep the name identical like what is done in the other drive. Acoustic power management 1, here I can keep it as minimum. It makes sense because it doesn't have to copy any data aggressively, it doesn't have to work aggressively, okay, and moreover it should have that power saving option, okay. So this is handy in case if you later transition to any SSD or else a disk drive as well, so a physical hard drive as well as a boot drive. So yep, you can see here it is all set. It shows identical settings. I am not sure, this is showing as 14.44 versus the old one it is showing as 14.41. I'm really not sure what is happening within that drive partitioning and stuff, okay. So rest is all set. I believe it is all done. Okay, it is showing resilvering. So this is something I have not noticed. So let me go to command prompt and I can do this to see its status. Oh, okay. So you can see here it is actually doing resilvering. Is it done? Okay, it is in progress and it is just showing 0.33%. I am really not sure why it is taking such long time. Yeah, it is doing quite slow. Yep, it is incrementing. It is 0.60. You can see here. Yep, I think it is not yet fully resilvered, so it is still resilvering the same. So in that case I need to wait for some time. Once it is fully resilvered, it is ready. So I need to keep this system maybe for an hour or something like that. I don't generally turn on this NAS forever. I just turn on whenever I need something and then I shut it down, okay. So looks like it is doing a resilver, but it is taking an awful amount of time. So I keep this mission on for some time, let it complete everything and then I can shut it down. So in case if you are an admin, you can take down these commands. It is quite handy. Don't rely always on UI alone, it is quite useful, okay. See, you can see here it is just showing an approx value of 1%, but in the command line you can see the full in-depth details, how much it has resilvered and what is it yet to do and stuff. It has totally resilvered around 35 MB, which is nothing when you compare something like 14 GB or something, okay. So hope you guys loved this video. If you have anything to discuss or if you want any other clarifications or queries regarding FreeNAS, be in touch via mail or post your queries in the YouTube comments. Thanks a lot for joining me. Stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye bye.